Hello, and welcome to Fic Fiction, a magical bookish podcast for chaotic story goblins like us. Today, we are continuing our Throne of Glass journey with a truly pivotal book in the series, Heir of Fire. The one with a magic training montage, the one where we finally learn about what Fae are capable of, the one where Kale and Dorian are all, where the hell did magic go anyway? And yes, the one with the punch. This one's a doozy, and it will take us a full 2 episodes to cover all of the details, so buckle in for part 1. As always, we're your hosts, Crimson,
Molly, and Emmy.
So how
Hello,
are we all
hello.
doing this week? Yeah.
We're here. We did it. We're back.
Oh my god, it's been a while.
It has.
It has been a while. Life has just been kicking us all in the teeth. I feel like we say that a lot, but like it's especially true right now.
This is what happens when you're an adult, guys. Like, you have adult responsibilities. So we can't record like every single week, but we are going to start
sign
recording
up for
pretty
this.
much every week coming up. Yeah. We didn't sign up for the stress.
No, I didn't ask to age, to be honest, but
this isn't what I was told adulthood would be.
Yeah.
Very true.
It does seem like, I feel like when you're a kid, you have this idea, like when you're a teenager, that like, okay, I have to figure out what my life's calling is, and I have to go to school for it, and then I get done and I get a job, and then it's all free sailing and like, you know, family life, maybe kids if you want, vacations until you die. But actually, it's just like one thing after another forever.
I don't think
it's complete nonsense.
Babies.
Yeah, me neither. But I think, yeah, a lot of people do, and that's valid. But yeah, no, for me, not for me.
Anyway.
But yeah, anyway, what have we been doing this week, guys? Emmy, let's start with you.
What have I been doing this week? I have been working. I work all the time. I don't do anything other than work. I haven't actually been anywhere, but I am going to visit my family in a couple of weeks' time, so that is exciting. But I have been avoiding my TBR this week because I have books that I need to read. I have to read Queen of Shadows because I'm really far behind. And then
Girl, you're 3 books behind.
It's ridiculous. I also need to read because we are filming soon our Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy episode, and I haven't finished the fanfic or the book yet. And instead I have binge read the entire 5-book Lady of Darkness series this week, and I am on the 5th book right now. Each of these books is like 600 pages. The third, fourth, and fifth book are like over 700 pages long. I have like shot through them. It's taken me a week. I'm finally on the last one. And 5-star God tier. I read it initially because Fairyloot are bringing out the 3 books, the first 3 books in the series. It's Fairyloot copies, and I was like, oh, that's on my list. I should probably pick that up soon so that I can read it in because I don't have physical copies, just in case I want the Fairyloot editions. And now this series is 100% like going into my like God tier, like 6-star read series. I'm like obsessed. Yeah, so Molly, what have you been reading this week? What have you been up to?
So I reached 119 books this week for the year.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. 119.
I think I'm at like 3.
Okay, I think I'm at like 65, 66.
Yeah.
So
that's a bad year.
I have been trying to work through my ARC copies, and I got to 1. So I finished the tandem read for Empire Storms and Tower of Dawn, and I was like, okay, now I'll move on to an ARC because I've got a Batpile and NetGalley. And when I tell you, this book was quite possibly the worst book I have ever attempted to read in my life. You guys know I don't DNF anything. Like, I will stick it out. No matter how awful the book is going, I will stick it out and I'll read it. There are very few exceptions, and this was one of them. It was fucking terrible. The worst book that I've ever picked up in my life. And it's just been trad published, and it's been picked up for a trilogy. And I don't quite know how to encompass how terrible it was, other than it was like poorly written Wattpad fan fiction that was written by somebody who was trying to write Harry Potter while also being creepy and poorly written. And I really shouldn't be so surprised, but people have been raving about it. And I'm just like, are you reading the same book that I was reading? The same book that, by the way, has an AI generated cover and has been published with an AI generated cover by one of the top publishers.
Yeah. Was
That
the
is
indie
not good.
was the indie cover also AI generated or no?
I don't know. I haven't actually looked at the original one. But this author has over 20 books under her belt. So I just don't know how it's still that awful.
I wonder if the series, like when it gets picked up for a trilogy, now that like the other books will be like trad published, like more like critiqued or whatever, if it'll get better. Whenever I started the Lady Darkness series last week, the first book is it's very different to the rest of the series, kind of in the same way that like Throne of Glass is very different to like Heir of Fire. Like the whole way through the first book, I was like, this is a Throne of Glass and a Guitar Smush. Like, I was like this, like
Yeah.
she is literally, she's a Wraith of Death, which is like an assassin, and she works for like an icky assassin lord, but she had like relations with like the prince. And then she finds her like, it's fated mates, like twin flames kind of vibes. And then I was like, the first book, I was like, that was like, it was super fun, but there was like nothing in there that I haven't originally seen. And then book 2 was like, I was like, oh, book 1's like maybe 4 stars, 4 stars. And then book 2 was like 5-star immediately. Like, it was so much better.
So
I got
to
to 25%.
Oh.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm gonna guess no if it's that bad and she already has a huge following and she's done a lot of books, because I think sometimes when people get picked up for trad publishers, like, yes, if you're an indie and you're a debut or you've only done like 1 or 2 books, like, yeah, you immediately get access to more resources and a lot of those people want to get better. But there are cases, I think Jennifer Armentrout is one, where she was known, and like really through no fault of her own, she has some like reasons that this is true, but she has just a million typos and like grammatical issues and stuff in her books. And my understanding, to be fair, I've never read them, but my understanding is once she got trad published, they got better, but it's still there. Like, they are not meticulously going, like, taking the time to go through and get rid of all of it, and it's because they know that her fan base doesn't actually care, and she already has like a huge fan base. And so it's like, I have a feeling that like if this person has enough clout that she's getting published even though she's not producing quality, like, it's just gonna stay like that. Like, an editor can only do so much.
So I don't even think I got to 25% of the way through, and bear in mind this is a 700-page book.
And you are not like a DNFer. You don't DNF.
No,
she never does.
I stick to it. Like, especially if it's an arc, because I want to be able to say everything that was awful about it. But yeah.
If you want to give a negative review, you're getting a negative review.
I'm a little like that. When I was reviewing books all the time, I would like stick it out on the bad ones because like people would be like, well, if you didn't finish it, you don't get to say anything. The only exception was Den of Vipers. I only got to 70% because it was just so fucking long, and it was like, I've seen enough. 70% is enough to know.
I have a question about DNFs for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a point, because I saw this on Instagram yesterday and I was like, that's a really interesting question, and I saved it in my mind for the pod, and you sort of like DNFing this book made me think of it. So is there a certain point, if you reach a certain percentage of a book, do you count it towards your end of year reading? Like, and what percentage would you have to get to? Or if you don't, because I've DNF booked at like 90%, where I'm like, I don't care about the ending, but I'm counting it in my reading goals because I did technically read like almost all of this book, so I want it counted. is there a percentage that you guys would start counting it, or do you just think if no matter when you DNF the book, it's a DNF, you don't count it?
I don't DNF. That's the thing. Like, I very,
Yeah, that's a
very,
really
very
good point,
rarely
yeah.
DNF. Like, I
Yeah.
DNF maybe 2 books a year if we're lucky. So if I was gonna count it, I didn't count this one. If I was gonna count it, I would probably say about 75%.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's not really the percentage. Like, obviously, like the year I read Den of Vipers, I would have counted that because I can tell you like the whole plot of that book.
Yes, it's more about how
but
much you know.
yes,
rather
it's more about how
than-
much I know.
Yeah.
So like if I've only read maybe 50%, but it has a clearly super predictable plot and I can look at the last chapter and see that I was right. Like, yeah, I read that book. I just didn't waste my time with all those chapters in the middle. But I think that's a good point because like I think a lot of people will be like, oh, well, that doesn't count. But like reading goals are for you. They're not really for anybody else. So like it doesn't matter how people are counting, you know? Like
True.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was just
So yeah,
curious for you guys.
book to avoid unless you want to suffer. Neverthorn.
It is on my list, and I am
Yeah,
gonna have to
don't
not read
fucking
it now.
bother, man.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna
Although
Don't.
the issue is, like, what happens if I am like, yeah, I'll just pick it up to see how bad it is, and then the exact same thing happens with Silver Elite, where I'm like, fucking fantastic.
I would judge you so hard. And I don't. Look, like,
Molly's
if
not a
you're
judgmental
in
reader, guys.
No, I'm not. That's the thing. Like, read whatever you want to, read what makes you happy. But if you're reading about a 30-year-old that acts like a 15-year-old, that where she's being sent back to school, but not like an adult magic school. I'm talking sent back to the school with other children, like 13-year-olds, and being forced to wear a school uniform, and it's a student teacher romance. Like a student professor romance, and before she went there, she was taking in children, like orphan children and children who didn't have homes, into a motel room.
It's mashing up too many plots. It's like
It mashes up everything, like all of the popular like tropes or the popular concepts. So in terms of the magic school, they instead of sorting hat like Harry Potter, they have a sorting gate that puts you into houses because they have houses. Albeit they have more houses than the 4. But the reason she has gone to the school after she dropped out, by the way, she's dropped out. The reason she's gone to the school is because they're forcing her to, because the hero, who is called something very close to Harry, and his last name was like Maximus or something, has died. He was the chosen one, and he was fighting a villain called Nocta, who was very clearly Voldemort. And now there's like they're trying to figure out who's the new chosen one, and she's one of the options.
So I will say, this is a question I have. How do we feel about when people make characters older for the sake of being older? Because I understand that a lot of women who now are reading in their 30s and 40s, like, we are the girlies who made YA what YA is now. And a lot of those girlies want to read the spice and the smut, but they are still really interested in those plots that are most appropriate for a teenager, right? Like, and so I think that's really interesting when you have something like this where it's like she's 30, but there's this contrived reason for her to go back to school when it's like, why didn't you just make her like 19? Like, it's kind of like you did that so that people wouldn't be weirded out by the professor student thing, but like also it takes away what the trope is about anyway. So it's kind of like,
I don't want a professor student unless the student is actually student aged. Like,
I mean, it was giving, like, if you're a Harry Potter adult that would totally go to Hogwarts right now as an adult.
Yeah. But that's
weird.
And I feel
So
like
fucking weird.
I see it with a lot of tropes, right? Like I see it with like, I see people doing, you know, it's age gap, but it's like she's 30 and he's 40, and it's like, nobody cares about that age gap. That's not, you're not doing the trope. Like, it's fine that you give them that age gap. Like, that's totally interesting and can add dimension to their relationship, but it's not, you're not doing the taboo trope thing. So, like, why are you advertising it as age gap? Like, I just think that's really interesting that this is kind of a trend of like people are trying to ride the line of I want to have the trope and the way the trope makes people feel, but I don't want anybody to cancel me, so I'm just going to make her like 28 years old.
Yeah.
There's something about it that just doesn't seem right to me, because like that's almost like you don't like an age gap, but you still want like the teacher romance, but it's not
Yeah.
gonna hit the same for me.
Or like you want an age gap, but you don't want anyone to accuse you that he's grooming her. And so you're like, oh, I'll
Yeah.
just age them both up. And it's like, okay, but it's no longer an age, like it's not, the society doesn't look
Mm.
at that the same way. So you're not doing the trope. Like it's also fine to like things you in fiction you would never be okay with in real life, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
The writing was
very-
just cringy. The way that they were interacting was cringy. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, I am not putting myself through this for the sake of an arc. And I did give it a review on NetGalley. I was like, I did DNF this. It was fucking awful. Please never again. But following that, I was like, I need serotonin. So I have just been, for the past week, I have been solidly reading Pride and Prejudice variations, which, you know, if you've been listening to the pod, you know that's something that I read quite a lot of.
That is your
And
thing.
yeah, I tend to hyperfixate. And I've read some really good ones this week. So there was a saving grace there, at least. But yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Crazy behavior.
Amazing.
Insane.
Crims-
What about you, Crimson? What have you been doing?
Not reading, that's for sure. I so as people might remember from the last episode, at that point I was in the process of starting to move. We are now fully moved into the new apartment, but the new apartment needs things, and we don't have a lot of storage furniture. One of the things about Parisian apartments is when when you live in a furnished apartment, you often have like a lot of built-in storage everywhere. Um, that is not the case when you get an unfurnished apartment. When you get an unfurnished apartment, they are like fully unfurnished, like there's nothing. So there's like one closet downstairs for coats. So it's kind of chaos right now. Like I am looking at a room that is giving me anxiety at this very moment. And also it doesn't come with a kitchen. So like we are in the process of building our IKEA kitchen, and it is going medium okay-ish. It is rough. It's a very weirdly shaped kitchen. So the original plan didn't work, but thankfully the components I had bought, like we can lay out a different way and it will work. So it's just a long process. So every day is moving stuff, every day is organizing stuff. And then work has been a lot. I also believe this is the first time we filmed since I had eye surgery. So
It is. You're not wearing glasses. Your eyes look lovely.
yeah, I have laser vision now. Yeah, so I've been recovering from that. That the initial recovery does not take long. It's not painful. If anyone listening is debating about asking your doctor about LASIK, you can totally at least talk to them and get a lot of really cool information. And if you're eligible for it, I highly recommend it because the surgery itself does not hurt at all. It is not as scary as it sounds. Because really what you see is just like a big light the whole time. I would recommend like getting an one-time anxiety prescription from your doctor, which mine gave me automatically, but not all of them do. It helps a lot because there is like a lot of equipment around you, so it feels a little Black Mirror-esque. Like you're a little like, the aliens are experimenting on my body. But the anxiety med helps with that. Like, so you're like, yeah, I don't really care about that. It's fine. And then you just look at a bright light, and then your eyes feel weird and sandy for a couple days, and then you feel totally normal and you can see, and it's magic. So yeah, I still am taking a lot of eye drops to keep my eyes really well lubricated while they're finishing healing up, but it's been pretty good. I can see pretty well. Not like perfect, but like I won't necessarily need glasses probably after this. So it's pretty great.
Congratulations. I love this for you.
Yeah. As far as reading, I did move all my books over. Half of them are in boxes, half of them are just sitting in a giant pile. I do not have any bookcases yet, so that is stressful. It's also kind of low priority because they're all kind of neatly organized, and my husband keeps asking me when the bookcases are coming, and I'm like, I have not even begun to design this wall of bookcases. Like, we need a kitchen.
There's
It's
more
coming,
important
but-
things like a kitchen and a bed, babe.
Yeah. Like we got the bed, but like I have no place to do my makeup right now. Like there's things that we need to do for our daily lives. Anyway, as far as reading, I think next on my list is maybe some Allie Hazelwood, perhaps some Monster Smut. I have some options laid out, but nothing too serious. I almost actually read something last night, but then it was determined that we should be social and hang out with each other, so we watched a documentary
Yeah.
instead.
Boring.
Ugh. Well, we're going to hold each other's hand next week and read a book together. So
Yeah,
it's all good. You'll get at least one book. It's all good.
that's
It'll be
right.
fine.
It'll be a fun
It's gonna
time.
be totally fine. Okay.
Anyway,
Should we
Well.
start talking about Heir of Fire?
We
I
should.
think we should.
Yes, definitely.
So I will
Okay.
say this is perhaps my favorite book in the series. I love this.
I love this book too. It's such a good time, and it's when everything's coming together and you get all of the perspectives you get an extra perspective that makes your heart sing, i.e. Manon. I don't care about the other perspective, quite frankly, or the other well, I don't mind one of them, but I could really do without the other. I'm
We'll talk
talking
about
about Kale, obviously.
Mhm.
Who else?
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
It's such a good book that connects what's happened previously to what will be an epic scope for the remainder of the
It's a
books.
really good like turning point. Like the book
Yeah.
is such a good turning point.
Yeah, this is the book that really, when I said pivotal in the intro, I meant like for me as someone who read it way after it was finished and after I had heard some opinions about it and whatever about what a masterpiece it is and how it was all super pre-planned, like it's so obvious to me that like this is the book where SJM finally figured out what she wanted to do with the plot and like
Yeah.
knew where it was going, because it takes a turn and it really like opens up the whole world into like more of what the real issues actually are starting to be.
Yeah. So, shall we start off with a little summary? And by a little, I mean
We
quite a big
should.
summary. Okay.
Well, for obviously this is going to be a two-parter, right? So
Yeah.
we're going to do Heir of Ash first, and then next week's episode will be Heir of Fire. So, Molly, I can only imagine the length of the summary that you're going to have for this book.
It's pretty chunky, not gonna lie. At least the first part is. The second part's not as bad. But
Yeah.
I'll take you away. I'll set the scene, as
Go
you were.
for it.
So, in Heir of Ash, which is the first part of the book, Selena has arrived in Wendelin after being sent by the king. However, her instructions being to kill the crown prince Galen Ashrover, i.e. her cousin, not that the king knows that, have resulted in very little other than her getting drunk on the rooftops. She's just drinking wine and eating bread, which is a
Slay.
mood, really, quite frankly. Her own plan is to seek out Maeve, the Queen of the Fae, to try and find a way to free magic from the blocks, shall we say, that obviously are taking place in her own land, and by extension put an end to the King of Ardalan's rule. It's on the streets of Varese, where she is approached by a Fey warrior, Rowan Whitethorn. Wolf whistles inserted here, who instructs Selena that she has been summoned by the Queen and must follow him to Mistward, which is a mountain outpost miles from where she had intended to go of Doranel. When she arrives at Mistwood, however, Maeve is actually waiting for her and informs Selena that she's not going to help her until she proves herself worthy. And by doing that, she has to both use and control her powers. With Rowan, her new arch nemesis, as her guard and training partner. Meanwhile, back yonder in Ardlin, Kale is essentially being the biggest sissy wet blanket of a character and spends most of his time thinking
Most accurate
Selena
saying ever.
is... Yeah, really. Spends most of his time thinking Selena is a monster who is literally the worst thing that's ever happened to humanity and will only ever put Dorian in danger. That is worsened when Adian Ashriver arrives at the Glass Castle wearing one of the infamous black rings, which is known to control the wearer, and in part one of the Valg into your person. However, it's not long before Kale actually discovers that Adian is smarter than he looks, bless his little heart, and it's a fake ring. And instead of working for the king, as everyone believes him to be, he is actually working as part of the rebellion with the exact people who captured Kale in Crown of Midnight. Dorian, on the other hand, is trying to come to terms with his magic and find a way to control it before it gets even more out of control. And through doing so, he meets Sorsha, a healer who has, unbeknownst to him, been the one that has been patching up him and his friends every time they have come across some sort of magical related trouble. And she has kept his secret, their secrets, because she has been in love with him the whole time. Bless her little heart. Who wasn't, quite frankly. And then the final perspective, what is also going on in part one, is relates to Manon and the 13. So we were introduced to Manon, who is the heir to the Blackbeak clan. And she has been summoned by her grandmother, the matron of the Blackbeak clan, to a very pivotal location within the land. And when she arrives, her grandmother is holding a discussion with Duke Perrington, insert booze here, who requests that she gather the witches of all three clans, so the Blackbeak, the Yellowlegs, and the Blue Bloods, to the Farian Gap, where the Duke has been breeding wyverns for the King's army, and they are to be the riders.
So
All right.
Ta-da.
exciting.
Summary.
Ta-da! Beautiful.
Ta-da!
I think your summary of how Kale's whole attitude is in this book is like so fucking on point. Because the thing
Accurate.
is, for me, and I always have so much trouble explaining this to people when we first start talking about Throne of Glass, if they are Kale girlies, is like, I'm not one of those girlies who immediately just like hated Kale because of what happened with Nehemia.
Mhm.
I am one of those girlies that just started getting really annoyed with him because he's such just a fucking turd. Like he's just
That's it.
His whole
Yeah.
personality, just all of it. The whole
yeah.
man.
Hate him. Like, I think
Oh, I
don't
do
hate
now.
him because I'm very much like, well, his character's there, like, obviously for a reason, and like I like the way that he is such an ass impacts the other characters and the storyline moves along because of like his asshole opinions. But also at the same time, he's so insufferable.
Yeah, like okay, so for me, because here's the thing, I had friends who started reading Throne of Glass and immediately in the first book are like, this guy's so dreamy, and I'm like, he's a white man with brown hair and no powers. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what? Why are you so impressed by him? I don't understand. I never got it. I was like, okay, fine. He seems fine.
He's
fine.
average.
And
He's
then
about
yeah,
as
like
interesting as watching paint dry. There's nothing to him. There's no substance.
In book one and the first half of book two, I was very like, he's fine. I'm not mad at him, but like, whatever. He's just kind of there. And then the thing with the Hemi happened, and I was like, oh, that's not a good look. And then I was waiting for there to be like, some kind of like moment of realization or like true act of like redemption for him. And then, and this is a problem I have with SJM in general. Like, if we ever do an ACOTAR series, I will talk about this in crazy depth.
We will. It's coming.
But
It's coming, babe.
But I don't think she writes redemption well at all. I don't think she understands what her redemption arc is. Like, I just think she's bad at it, because his redemption arc is like very meh later in the series, and at this point in the series, it's like non-existent. It's like he thinks he's doing nothing wrong, and it takes us books and books for him to get to any point of self-reflection, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? I gotta listen to this white guy whine and complain, and his bigotry and his anti-magic bullshit, and he's struggling with like being friends with his best friend of his whole life, who just happens to have magic powers he didn't ask for. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
he has the depth of a kiddie pool. There's no substance to him.
Nothing there.
The fact that he purveys himself to be, standing for king and country, the fact that he is loyal and, has a very strong sense of morality. He is completely okay with the King of Ardalan killing thousands upon thousands of people, because that's the king, that's his right to do. Despite the fact that everyone else around him, i.e. Selena, Dorian, Adian throughout this book, they're all telling him like, bro, this isn't right. Why are you okay with this? Why are you villainizing people that are trying to fix the problem and, bring what's right to, the forefront? Why are you having a go at them when what he's doing is abhorrent,
Yeah.
I feel like he very much gives like, I don't know how to explain this. I don't know if you guys are going to understand this when I say this, but he just like, he gives the vibe to me of like a cheese sandwich. With no butter.
with no butter, no mayo, just a cheese sandwich.
Yeah, just like plain cheese and bread, and like extra strong cheddar cheese, not even like nice
and not good cheese.
cheese.
The cheese.
No.
Well, I'd say not even extra mature. I'd say cheese that doesn't taste of
It's
anything.
just like boring and insufferable, and he's just average.
I think it's an apt comparison, but I am a child of the 90s in America, and American cheese sandwich is very up my alley.
Let's go for like old King Arthur era crap cheese and weird bread.
Yeah,
like, that's the vibe that he's giving,
Yeah, now I'm with you.
Like malt bread.
I have a question. I have a really stupid question, right? This is about like the Throne of Glass series in general, because I don't know if I'm just an idiot. But I can't, in my head, they don't have like electric, right? Like
no.
They obviously there's no technology and stuff, but like they don't, we're talking like old era, like kings and queens castles with lamps, medieval, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Because obviously like the Fae have like Fae lamps and like whatever. Like balls of stuff like floating down the hallways. But I was like, they don't have.
Yeah, ACOTAR is like
lights, right?
Renaissance-y, where like they have some things but not all things. Like they have plumbing, but they don't really have true electric. But then
And
Throne
then
of Glass
is like
and Crescent City is like future.
full. Yeah.
And then Throne of Glass is very much sort of like medievalish, like nothing.
So.
Yeah.
Think Game of Thrones, like the type of technological advance or stage. Yeah.
My head goes like, have you ever seen, I don't know, Crimson, you probably haven't because it's on the BBC. Molly, have you ever watched Merlin?
Yes, exactly.
It's giving
we
Merlin
know what
vibes, right?
We know what Merlin is in the US. We do get some BBC guys. Yes.
Yeah, they get the BBC parts that are like Sherlock and Merlin and Doctor Who, but they don't get anything else.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked a bit about Kale and the fact that Kale is a wet blanket.
Yes.
Talking about the very beginning of the book when we first see Aelin, Was anyone else sort of surprised by the state that we find our hero in? Because
I find it
was
hilarious.
a little like,
I feel like I feel like it was that fate, that sort of like phrase that's like disappointed but not surprised. Like she really taps into her like inner teenage girl.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna clean my room and I'm gonna get drunk at the weekends, Mum.
I don't blame her. Like it's the first time that it's the first time that she's been quote unquote safe. You know, and like somewhere where, you know, unless they look really closely at her eyes, they're not going to know who she is.
Sure.
There's no one there monitoring her, in theory. I'd get drunk and eat bread too.
Sounds like a really good time. I'm not going to lie.
Okay,
it does.
So here's the thing. As somebody who lives in a city where you might encounter people in that state on a regular basis, like that level of gross and unhygienic and drunk, I was a little shocked. Like I was a little like, what do you mean you spent all of your money and you like, this is not a person who's never traveled before. This is not a person who's never encountered a challenge before. So I was just like, you gave up really easy. Like, this is ridiculous. I was a little disappointed. I was a little like, come on.
It's
like, she's on a roof. It's fine.
It's giving drunk British people in Greece.
It is 100%.
She's
like, this
homeless.
bread, this bread is so nice. The wine's great. The weather's lovely.
She's reminding me of like, okay, so sometimes in Paris you will see, and by the way, this is not meant to like there's a lot of reasons that people are homeless, and like absolutely so much empathy for people but there is a subset of people in Paris specifically that hang out on the street and have like, they look like they haven't taken a shower in a really long time, and you can tell when you get near them that they haven't taken a shower in a really long time, and they are just sitting there with their bottle of red wine, and they are just drinking, sometimes from like a paper cup, but usually just from the bottle of red wine. And that's what I think of when I think of Aelin, and I just am like, ugh.
From someone who was so like,
she loves nice things,
beautiful.
Yes,
yeah, she's like, yeah.
Like that's the thing, is it's like, if you're just like that, then okay, go off. But she's not like that, so it's very like, what are you doing?
I think she's in like her depression girl era.
Yeah.
She has so much that she knows it's coming. And that's the thing. When she gets there, she knows what she has to do. She doesn't want to have to go and kill her cousin, because that's, you know, not cool. You know, you don't kill your cousin for no reason. And then she has to go and find Maeve, who, bear in mind, her mother was trying to prevent her from going her entire childhood. She didn't want her to go to Dornell. She didn't want her to go to Wendlin because it was not safe for her. But now she's there, and she's essentially having to beg for help.
Yes.
Yeah, but it does seem to me, I'm not saying this is a plot hole. I think this is just Aelin being Aelin, but like, she struggles to ask people for help sometimes. She really 100%. Wants to control every situation. And I was just sitting there like, you just gotta like get alone in a room with the cousin. Like, that's all you gotta do to make something good potentially
just, like,
happen.
Look at him. Like, show up in his room. Like, you can breathe in.
I know you know how to do that, girl. Just show up. And like, so it did feel a little like you did not do everything. But I think I now understand, of course, after this book, but also I think after the whole series, and I think this isn't much of a spoiler, but Aelin is very much trying to avoid her destiny and avoid like who she is in her, and I would say her duty at this point. Like, she doesn't want to take up the crown of being Aelin Ashriver Galathinius. She wants to just be an assassin and not think about what that entails and what that means. And this felt to me like, I was surprised because I thought, with the crazy ending we get from Crown of Midnight with that amazing line, it felt like, oh, she's taking up the mantle. And then it's like, oh no, she's not. She's she's
She's
gonna take
seeking
a
up
whole fucking book to do
alcoholism.
that.
It's not until the end of this book and maybe even like into the next one where she's like, okay, like
Oh shit, I should probably do this.
I have a
I
kingdom.
have
I
to
should
be the
probably do
queen
something
of
about
tourism.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's chilling, she's drunk. And then she goes down to the street because she's run out of wine. And
Relatable.
and she gets cornered by Rowan Whitethorn. And
Can we just
oh,
talk about how he's just been watching her the whole time?
as a hawk, like she sticks her tongue out at this hawk that sat like looking at her. She's just like,
But also that is their relationship. Like the fact that he's just sitting there looking at her like, girl, what are you doing? And she just sticks her tongue out at him. That's everything you need to know about
exactly. And it's perfection. So when she meets him, he's very much giving The Witcher. That's pretty much true.
Yeah,
that's pretty much how
really
I picked him.
is.
He's got his long hair, he's got like the half tatted face, he's looking like pissed off, and he's essentially having to pick up this princess and be like, you know what, get your ass on this horse. We've got places to be, people to see.
Yeah, we're busy.
Pull yourself
girl.
together,
Me.
woman.
It kills me that like the whole like it's hilarious, like the fact that, you know, she's been through so much. Like she's been through like Endovia and like the trials and the Ridderak, and like, you know, she's messed about with Dorian and Kaol and whatever, and then
I mean, she
he
kissed
gets
Dorian for
sent-
hours.
For
he
hours.
gets sent to find her, and she just immediately starts like she could do so much more. Like she is quite intellectually, like she reads, she's a smart gal.
She's very smart.
But she then acts like the bratty princess that he
I love it.
expects her to be.
I love it. She just gives him...
And in some ways, it's an act, but also at the same time, it's also her being able to live her personality, like what she wants to be, you know?
Yeah, I will say, as much as I was disappointed / surprised that that we find her in this state, right? It actually, I do think in this case, this was a really great way for SJM to introduce the two of them, because if he had met her at her best self, they probably never would have made the connection they make. He would have been like, oh, she's another blah 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 blah, like I don't care. It's the fact that she is literally playing into every stereotype, and that it creates this tension, and he just hates her, that like it works. Like it is a true enemies to lovers, because they immediately
100%.
just don't get along, because he's just like, you're such a waste of space, like what's going on.
They hate each other. They hate each other.
They really
like,
do.
with a passion. And when they arrive at Mistwood and she meets Maeve, she's kind of like, oh, you're her bitch. Like that's the dynamic. And he's like, I have a job and, you know, a duty. Look at the state of you. Like, you know?
Yeah, like, are you fucking kidding me?
Bitch. Yeah.
She
so
really gives,
Maeve...
she really gives like that hashtag burnout gifted kid who like failed out of college because they were so bored, and like it seems like a total asshole, but actually like if you talk to them and get them passionate about something, they have the ability to do anything. It's a little it's giving a little of that vibe of like, because he just totally dismisses her, but like she's also totally dismissing him, but there's so many layers to both of them.
I think we'll stay on them for a bit, because we'll talk about the characters separately. We'll talk about their arc first, I think, because it's obviously the most important. But she meets Maeve for the first time. That's part of their
storyline.
Story, yeah.
Yeah.
And Maeve is like, I've always wanted to meet you. Your parents wouldn't let me, probably for good reason. And that you are so disappointing. and I know so much that you need to know about. I know so much about the keys and magic.
Yeah.
And
She's like, I have the information
yeah,
you need, but you need to prove that you're worthy of that
you're
information.
so disappointing.
Yeah. And obviously, for those who have read it, or obviously this is full of spoilers, but Rowan is bound to the Queen.
Yeah.
So she has like a little cohort of just men that are bound to her, to her service, and she can control them. It's like mind control. She tells them to do something, they have to do it. They don't have any choice but to do that. And effectively, she tells Rowan, it's your duty to make sure that she proves herself. So you're going to stay with the spoiled princess. You're going to train her. You're going to make her use her powers. Why is she still a human? She is Fae. Why is she still in
Why is
her
she wandering around
animal
like this?
form?
Yeah.
You know? So Rowan it feels like Rowan's being punished. And we do learn that it is kind of Rowan being punished. And he has to stay with her and oversee her and make sure that she's not a bitch to the people in Mistwood. And that's the thing. She has to stay at the outpost. And in order to stay at the outpost, she has to, play her part. So she's sent to the kitchens because Aelin is definitely somebody that's worked in a kitchen before peeling potatoes. And she doesn't want to tell them who she is. So she tells them that her name is Alentia, which again is a callback to Nehemia. But we find out that the kitchen staff,
I already knew.
namely Emrys, she walked in and you were like, oh, that's her. We know her. We knew your mum. But they're like, we'll play along with this game because clearly you've been through some shit.
You have some trauma that you need to deal with by yourself. I love Emrys, by the way.
Yeah,
I do too. Him with his mate and like
so
cute.
They are adorable.
This is also
I also love Luca.
Yeah, this is also the first time in an SJM book, really. Well, if you're reading the series first. It's really the first time, though, that we get to see what a mating bond is supposed to look like. Like what a mating bond, especially a mating bond you come through like naturally without a bunch of trauma attached to it.
Is this the first time in Throne of Glass? Because obviously, discounting like if you're reading this first, is this the first time we see LGBT representation?
I think in any of the books it is.
It's the first that you see it, as in like these two characters together. Yeah. But obviously we know. Do we know? Yes, we know because
we know what
Adian. We've already been introduced to Adian, and Adian is bisexual king over here.
Do we know that at that point in the book though?
I am pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that we know that. I'm trying to remember what because they say about him being Ardalan's whore and the fact that he is like a notorious for sleeping about.
I don't think we know that yet because I think Adian turns up around the same time Selena or Aelin reaches.
Also, he's known for messing about, but I don't remember reading that as like. I remember reading that as like he doesn't judge what anybody else is doing, but it's not clear like what he's doing or what he's like because he's all I remember knowing at that point is like he's throwing a bunch of parties that are basically orgies.
Yeah.
I also don't know if when these books like I think that counts obviously, but like when these books were written, like when they were coming out, I don't think I would have counted that as representation because I think there was this thought of like, oh, if it's an orgy, like it's a separate. There was a lot of no homo stuff, like so. I don't know if everyone would have read it that way.
I feel like it's definitely not the first time. It's like whenever we see Emrys and his mate.
It's
It's not the first time it's referenced, but it's the first time it's seen.
Yeah, for sure. I also think it's
because we
probably
definitely
the best representation we do have until that point because
till that point.
because even if we're including Akatar, I can't remember if Mist and Fury was out yet, but like even if we are, her story is kind of a meh. And then you have Helion, but like it's again put through the filter of like, oh, he's just such a lush. Like it's not really an identity.
I mean,
so
we
much.
get more like confirmation. So obviously they here, Emrys is like the first you see. But then in Empire of Storms, you get confirmation that Aedion is a bisexual king. Because he's talking about how with Lysandra about how he has enjoyed the company of both men and women on numerous occasions. And we also see one of Rowan's cousins who is also mated to one of his captains, I think.
I mean, I could be remembering wrong. I just feel like in Heir of Fire, it was like implied but not confirmed until he's like at a party and talking about it. But I think like that's later in the book.
I love how we're just like, when was the first gay?
Moving back to Rowan and Aelin, so let's discuss their training regime. Cue like it's the final countdown music here.
They are so fucking clueless. I'm sorry, but like
it's like the blind leading the blind, isn't it?
Okay. So
she's basically like, just do it. Just do it. And just do it and just do it. And she's like,
not
how?
hard.
He asks her to shift. So to shift into her Fae form, which she's only been in once since the magic started, like was shut down, and that was in Crown of Midnight. And she's like, I can't fucking do it. You can't just say do it and it'll happen. Like it's not, I don't know how to control it. So he goes, okay, fine. And he takes her to a field that's covered in white sparrows, which are essentially like graveyards. They're like mounds. They're quite common in England. They're mounds, and they were essentially kind of like mausoleums, and that's where they bury the dead. So he takes her there and says, okay, walk through the barrows, and if you can do that, I'll take you to Doranel right now. So she's like, fine, I can do that. So she walks through the barrows.
Like, okay.
And she expects to see a white. She does not see a white. She finds a strange, dark figure that's waiting around the barrows instead. And he is like this like dark presence, and Rowan doesn't know who it is either. But as soon as he goes near her, she is overtaken by a flashback of the night that her parents were murdered and her waking up in her parents' blood. And then she also gets another scene of when Nehemiah is murdered. And she pisses herself because she's terrified. So she wets herself, she throws up, and Rowan just like drags her from like the darkness of like the barrows, and he's just like looking at her like, you are so fucking pathetic. But also he's like, what the fuck was that? Like, see, he doesn't know either. He's like, there's just this, you know, dark, mysterious, obviously dangerous thing that has just attacked her and drained her. And he's like, right, okay, maybe let's not do that again. Instead, he starts training her. So she is constantly getting beaten up, getting bruised, back to back, just training of the same thing, and he still can't get her to shift into her Fae form. And at night, she is at the outpost hearing stories about the dark fairies that Emrys is telling. So Emrys is a storyteller. which is it's a theme that goes on throughout Throne of Glass. There are different like types of storytellers. So you see them here with Emrys. You also see the storytellers in the southern continent. And then obviously we also have storytellers in Akatar. So they do play a really pivotal role throughout her universe. But he's telling scary stories. And everyone comes to listen, including Rowan. And that's when she realizes that he's the hawk that was following her on the rooftops because she could see him outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of
Oh,
my
man.
favorite things about their bond, because obviously they do develop a bond, like a friendship eventually, like in the second half of this book. But like, I know obviously spoilers because this whole thing is spoiler filled. Spoiler to this bit, really big spoiler. Obviously, they become each other's love, right? It really is enemies to lovers. My favorite bit, and I read this. Was it on Instagram? I read it, and it was like, he's her one true love, but like. He punches her in the face because
dude, I
really
love that
annoying.
punch. I love that punch. I actually think it's so interesting when people are super anti-Rowan because of the punch, because she needed that punch. Like
she did. Yeah. And she's been beating the shit out of him as well.
Yeah.
I need to find it in the book, also when they first get there.
She has literally never encountered anybody that isn't trying to kill her that actually like she's not physically superior to, like or at least maybe not physically in like brute strength, but physically in her smartness and her way that she can, like, she's been able to take out everybody who's ever been a problem. And anybody, like, you know, if Kale tried to beat her up, that would be hilarious, right? So she needed somebody to take her down a peg. Like, she had this overinflated ego, and she didn't want to deal with the fact that with the amount of power she has comes, like, honestly, a lot of responsibility. Like, she is the queen of Terrasen, and she didn't want to admit it and didn't want to do her duty. And she needed someone to tell her that she was being a spoiled brat, but she didn't have to listen to anybody else. And so to have someone be like, no, you're not the hot shit you think you are. You're now in a place where you're basically nothing if you don't buck up and take control of yourself. And like, she needed it. She needed the punch.
What I love about the punch part is like, she has gotten away with saying things and being berating to other people because of her own emotions. And so she says to him, and I'm looking at it right in front of me, and it's like, Fae like you make me understand the King of Ardalan's actions a bit more, I think. And it's like faster than she could sense, faster than anything had a right to be. Her.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, he's like, even you know that that's complete bullshit, so no.
It's so harmful. And it's like, if she had said it to anybody else, it would have been like so mentally devastating for them. And he's basically like, you don't get to just be a fucking bully. Like, fuck off.
No. Like you don't get to take out your hurt, like your hurt on other people just because you're in pain. Like, that's not how this works.
And she doesn't know this yet, but he's a person that knows a lot about having a lot of pain, and he chooses to use his empathy to help other people become stronger through his tattooing and all of that, and rather than judging them for it. And so, like, she's really like hit one of his buttons.
So we obviously get like what I can only describe as like the training montage, right? Like the training thing happens again and again and again, and there's problems and problems and problems, and she still won't shift, and she still won't shift, and he's getting angrier and angrier and angrier.
He's like, just fucking do it already.
And she's so frustrated because she literally doesn't know how. Like, she can't figure it out.
She's like, I'm just a girl.
Where he like is like, you're a coward. And then at the end of that chapter, she does try, but she's like, the inside of her is just cobwebs.
Yeah. Empty. So they get into another fight naturally, because that's how they communicate at this point. So they get into fights.
Yelling.
And he bites her.
Ah!
Bites her. And that's what makes her shift. Now, okay, I just want to say, I've said that they're clueless, but really, this really shows how clueless they are. Okay, because we
Yeah.
know that they fall in love, but like in this universe, in the Throne of Glass universe, especially, Fae males are really territorial.
Yes.
They are insanely territorial. And you don't just go around biting other Fae women. You bite your loved ones. You bite your mate. You don't bite strange women.
And I don't remember if it's in part 1, but once they start actually hanging out, he explains that like you only bite your person. You don't.
Yeah.
And
You
yet,
don't just
like,
bite
he
people.
had already found his person and she died.
Yeah.
Very
So
suspicious.
he had a mate. He had a
Mhm.
pregnant mate and she died. But he has decided to bite Aelin. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Just
sorry.
bites the princess.
But to be
Like,
fair, we don't know any of that yet. We just know that he's biting her. She gets really angry and shifts, and we discover that, like, okay, so she can do it. Like, when she's under some kind of stress or duress and she's really
Yeah.
pissed off, she's capable of doing this. And it's kind of this like pivotal moment of like, okay, there's potential to learn here. I just have to figure out how to harness this.
There's so many different pieces that happen, all because he bit her. So she
Yeah.
shifts into her Fae form, and then she uses her powers, and she essentially sets fire to the forest that's around her. And I think
yeah.
also really frustratingly, and if it wasn't, the biggest hint ever about the fact that they're going to end up together, his powers are perfectly, equipped to make sure that she can't. It is the it's like the flip side of the coin to herself. She has
Yeah.
literally come across the most ideal person to deal with her, and they're like, "Oh, I don't even like you, let alone being friends." Like that's such
What do you
bullshit.
mean we have to kiss later? It's like,
Yeah. And then they go on a little investigation, right?
They do.
do.
So they end up working together, like CSI style, like procedural cops, like going
Criminal
around.
Minds. Like,
Yeah, it is 100% Criminal Minds, because they're coming across like these desecrated bodies where all of the life and blood and whatever else is inside them has been sucked out.
so gross.
Yeah. You're sitting there and you're like just waiting for Rowan to go super unhinged and be like tasting something on his tongue. Like it's great.
Oh, 100%. Like
yeah.
if he had black sunglasses to like take off, like I could totally
Yeah.
say like,
Yeah. It's great.
so they've kind of like established this like tentative kind of like agreement
Yes.
But it also
between each other.
Yeah, and more than it is, even this is a way that their relationship starts developing and they start gaining respect for each other and their intelligence, but also the finding of the not white, the thing that they don't know what it is yet. It really is kind of a point where they both as characters start to realize there is something bigger afoot that like we don't understand and that we've never understood. Because this is a thing, like, you're in Windland, you're in the magic area, there can be a lot like things that you've never heard of before, but Rowan is very old. He's hundreds of years old, and so for him to know nothing about something in the immediate vicinity of someplace that he spends a lot of time is pretty strange.
Yeah. So while they're investigating, they spend a lot of time at Mistwood, and it's quite funny actually. So I think it was kind of just like a side hint more than anything, but again, they're here listening more to Emerys and the stories that he's telling, and she asks Emerys to talk about the Fae Queens. So she's asking him about Maeve specifically, but Emerys starts talking about Mab and Mora, and they are the Fae that Aelin and Rowan specifically are descended from. And how they used to rule the fairies before Mora fell in love with men and gave up her immortality. However, in the kitchen on the fireplace, there is a carving, and there's only 2 Fae depicted.
Yeah.
There is.
Not 3, but there are 3 sisters. Only 2 are depicted. So, like,
Oh.
if anything should have hinted that something was afoot, that would be it. And I just want to say that just
I
to
have a
point that
question.
out. Mhm.
Yeah, because
I
we
have a
can't talk about what
question.
is afoot.
Obviously,
Mm.
like it's spoilery, right?
Mhm.
But obviously, we know that something's not afoot. Something's afoot with these 3 Fae queens, right?
Mhm.
So, so Rowan descends from Maeve.
Yeah.
That's what's implied.
No. Rowan doesn't defend. He's from Mab's line.
He's from Mab's line. Okay,
Yeah.
so no matter what happens, they're like distant cousins.
Oh yeah, they're distantly related.
Yeah.
They're
They know
distant
that.
cousins. They know that.
Oh,
Because I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
they talk about it specifically in this book, like how that they are related, and Rowan's like, I have more relation with Emrys than I do with you, so
Yeah, it's like
don't
distant,
think too
distant,
much of it.
distant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much a we are distant cousins, but like don't think too much about it.
I
because
Yeah.
we're
mean,
gonna kiss.
it's the type of thing where, like, if your family has stayed in the same area for, half a dozen or more
Hundreds of
generations,
years. Yeah.
then and you always married within the area, then like you're gonna be distantly related. But like the way it works, it's just that everybody is at some point a bit distantly related.
So the last
Anyway.
of Selena or Aelin, the last of Aelin and Rowan that we actually see in part 1, has to do with cave. So Rowan
This bloody
takes
cave.
I love
this cave. Rowan takes Aelin to a cave where he's left Luca stranded in the middle of a frozen lake, handcuffed. And she needs to go and get him in order, like, a way to show that she's able to control her powers and not melt the ice. She has to go and save Luca. But when she gets Luca unchained, should we say, she sees a giant eyeball but in the hole created by the chains. And it turns out that there was a monster that was living in that cave.
Yeah.
That has never
Way to go,
seen
Rowan.
daylight. Never seen
Yep.
daylight. And that's the only thing that stops it from chasing after them, effectively. Which was just iconic. This poor boy that wanted adventure and wanted to see like some fighting and like, have some action for once, because all he does is help out in the kitchen. Nearly became monster food.
Yeah.
Food. The only thing that kind of positively came out of that was Aelin found Goldrin. She finds the
Yes.
sword.
She
And
gets her
in
baby.
this, she does. She gets her sword, but also in the scabbard is a ring that becomes very important in the later books.
It's true.
My favorite part of like my favorite whole part of the cave scene is just Luca, because he's very much like, "Ooh, you're so cool. I want to see your fae form and I want to see your powers." And we're like, "Dude, you're in like increased danger."
He's such a cute, sweet little golden retriever. Like, that is his character. He is sunshine. Bless his little heart. And he thinks Rowan is the best thing ever. Like, he's like, he is like the best warrior ever.
Things than sliced bread. Yeah.
He really does.
Mhm.
And he thinks that Aelin is so freaking cool because she's got powers and she can turn into a fae, but she's also human. All he wants to do is see like the action. But yeah, he very nearly is killed because Rowan has decided to take Emmett. And it's really funny because they go back to the kitchen and Emrys is pissed. Emrys is pissed that and Aelin, she's also mad at Rowan for using Luca, but Emrys is like, yeah, never do that again. Like, don't do that. They're my family. But it's after
Luke at a shop at one point.
She does. Yeah.
I'm literally just
When
trying to
she's-
find the actual line. She's like, "Shut up!"
Yeah, she's like
Okay.
trying to focus and make sure that she doesn't melt the ice too much in that they'd both go in. And he's like just chatting away like a budgie.
He's like, "I'm hungry."
yeah, he's like, I'm hungry.
My friend's animal form is a pig. It smells in here and I'm hungry. And she's,
Yeah.
"Shut up."
It's like he's giving toddler and she's giving babysitter that's had enough.
I don't know. I don't know if anyone will be into this reference, but what I was thinking about that whole time was that there's a character in Fast and Furious that like all he says all the time is that he's hungry. He's always like, I'm hungry.
It's giving Colin Bridgerton because all Colin Bridgerton talks about is food.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last kind of like thing that happens after the cave is they kind of form a pact to try and heal together, and that's when they really become friends. And you see that they have this like connection that
Mhm.
where they see each other's dark parts, and they both think
Aw.
that, you know, they're beautiful for it and that they deserve to heal. So they decide to agree to help each other do that. And that's the end of part 1 for them. And it just filled my heart with so much.
Is it the first time we get the quote?
Which
Or is
one?
that later?
To what?
Mhm.
To whatever ends in second part.
Yeah, we don't get that
Yeah.
just yet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We just set it up. Yeah, it's really, I do think their journey together is really beautiful. I think one criticism I often hear about their relationship is that they say that Rowan is too one-dimensional because he doesn't grow a lot throughout the series, but I actually love that Rowan, I don't think that makes him one-dimensional. I love that he
I
sort
don't
of
think he
comes
needs to grow. He is
No.
grown.
He's fully baked. And I think it's nice to have characters in your story that are that way, especially when you have a character like Aelin, who like she needs like a rock. Like she
Yeah.
has so much inner turmoil that she has not dealt with, that she needs like stability. She's never had stability, never once.
No.
And Rowan provides that for her.
He is 400 years old. Like, he's
Yeah.
over 400 years old. He's seen pretty much everything that the world has to offer at this point. He has suffered a ridiculous amount.
Unimaginably. Yes.
Yeah.
He is bound to a queen that I think he realizes at this point, you know, is torturing his friends. And despite that, he is still able to see that there's worth in suffering. Like, that's what he does through his tattooing. That's what you said earlier, Crimson. His role is to help people, you know, come to terms with the things that they've seen and learn and grow from them. And I don't think somebody that is already like that needs to grow. There's no reason for him to develop. He's already done all his growing.
Yeah.
But Aelin is still a teenager. She still has so much that she has to come to terms with, has to face. And she, like you said, she really does need somebody that is, you know, steadfast.
Yeah,
I think we also have enough. Like, we have enough men going through their growth arcs in this book, because we've obviously got Dorian, who's coming into light of all of his magic. We've got Chaos, who's just his own ball game.
Also,
but then we also get Lorcan later.
Not to drag it into the real world too much, but like I think it's interesting because I mean, I love a hero's journey and a character growth more than, you know, as much as anybody, but if I were single right now, I wouldn't necessarily want to go find an older man who really needs me to help him grow emotionally, you know?
No, we need someone that's got their shit together, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Rowan has his shit together. And also
he does.
leaves her, like, he's not doing it yet because he sees her as infantile through most of the first part of this book. But once he gets to know her and understands that she is at a different part in her journey than he understood, like, he gives her the space to be her own person as well. He doesn't expect
Yeah.
her to conform to his ideal of what she should be, and he doesn't even really expect that in part 1. He just expects her to like stop being a brat is really what it is.
I think
Yeah.
also it's great that we see somebody that's not having to help the man grow. It's the other way around. So he's
Yes.
there
Oh,
to
nice.
guide her when she needs it. She needs somebody that she can turn to and ask for advice and help with, you know, decisions that really she shouldn't be in the place to have to make at her age and her position. So
Completely.
he plays that role, which is brilliant. So that is Aelin and Rowan, which is great. Shall
Speaking
we
of other
talk?
men, should we do the men next?
I think we
And
should.
leave
Yeah.
I
the
think we
favorite
should.
to last.
Yeah,
Yeah,
should we
my
talk
baby.
about should we talk about the little duo?
Let's talk
Yeah,
about the men who
let's-
do need to have their growth arcs.
They really fucking do. So we in the summary I spoke about how, you know, Adian has turned up and Kale realizes that Adian is not under the control of the king, rather he's working for the rebellion.
Yeah.
So he has a ring that Kale sees and thinks, oh shit, he's being controlled by the Val. In actuality, Adian saw the ring, like the original ring, and was
"Fuck
like, that
this."
is not it. Like that is some
Yep.
dark, like
There's some
dark
fucked up shit
bullshit.
going on. Yeah.
So he has someone make a replica and nobody figured it out. Like he's been
Yeah.
around the
Do
king.
you think though that
No
like
one.
the king themselves would be able to feel like
I think it's a tiny bit of a plot hole because at this point, we don't establish in this book what the rings are actually doing until the very end. So I sort of think it's a bit of a like keeping people off the scent of like if a lot of people have them, it sort of makes sense, but you would think that he would know. Well, he would know because the ring is attached to a being, and so that being would know or would die or something. Like something would happen. So it doesn't
just
really make sense,
shows
to be honest.
it just shows how great an actor Adian is. Like how he's kept up this
It does,
ruse for so
sure.
long. So Kale realizes that Adian is actually working with the rebels. And it's this decision that leads him to decide, okay, I'll tell him that Aelin's alive.
Yeah, I love that he was just like, hey, guess what? Your fam is still hanging
BT
out.
Dubs, the girl that you have been heartbroken about losing your entire life. Oh, she's alive. She's alive.
It makes me laugh because earlier in this book, when Aiden shows up, he's like, "Oh, I really wish I was here whenever the king's assassin is here. Like, I've heard so much about her. Like, I've heard that she is fiery or whatever." And I'm like, "No, you don't want to go down that route. That's your
No.
cousin." Like,
that is incest. Those cousins are too close.
yeah.
This isn't Alabama. So yeah, they decide to form like a tentative allyship to share information about the rebel movements. Even though Kale, you know, let his head, still hasn't decided to work with the rebels. He still hasn't, you know, given up his hard on for the king. Effectively,
Yeah, he still thinks that change can be affected from the inside. He doesn't really understand yet that he's
an idiot.
For it. Yeah, it's like he thinks that the king is just like misguided.
Yeah,
I can change him.
I can fix him.
Like, dude, this guy's been doing this for even not knowing the spoilers about the king from later. Like, this dude's been doing this for decades. Like, this guy legit is into slavery. Like, he likes it. So, like, maybe stop trying to like figure out how to convince the king that it's all bad. Like, come on.
Yeah. So do you know what really makes me feel both really sad but also cackle? Is the fact that Adian and Kale have like agreed to work together and they're meeting in Elena's tomb under the castle. And Adian, or not Adian, Kale is sharing with Adian what he knows about Selena/Aelin. And Dorian overhears them. Like, Dorian's like, why are they besties? Like, he's my bestie. Why are you hanging out together? So
Oh
he
my
follows them
God.
down into the tomb and overhears that Selena is not Selena, she is Aelin, and they have hidden this from him the entire time.
And Dorian's like, that's my girl. Like, I actually like her and stand up for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my heart, I was just like, Dorian, you are so sweet. You are just the sweetest little bean, and you're trying to figure shit out, and Kale is keeping things from you.
He's not
Um,
helping.
He's not helping whatsoever. But he has told Adian, despite the fact that he's told him, you know, who Aelin is, who Selena is, he doesn't want any part of it.
Yeah.
He doesn't want any part of their secrets. But despite that, they start beating at Aelin's apartment in order to avoid being discovered. And that's where Adian kind of shares his experience with when magic went away. And that Kale he identifies to Kale that he felt the magic leave in 3 moves, or 3 waves, that eventually took all the magic out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the last big thing that happens with Kale, other than, you know, just his painful complaining, is the opium den. I mean, we
So
spoke
good.
about the opium den. So do you want to talk about
So
what happens
good.
there?
Yeah, so I can't exactly remember how it starts, but Ren comes back and Ren has been injured. But
Yeah.
not only has he been injured, the King's Guard is after him because he's been involved in some sort of trap, I guess.
Yeah.
Or he gets caught, or either way,
He's wearing the
murdered,
king's
stabbed.
uniform.
That's it.
He's wearing the king's uniform.
So they're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Like, he can barely stand. He's been injured really severely. We need to get him to someone who can help. And they're like, I know where to take him. They're like, we know where to take him. And Kale's
Got
like,
this.
okay, where are we going? They end up in almost what I can only describe as an opium den / like strip
Brothel.
club.
It's a brothel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they end up being put into this, they end up sitting in this bench area, this like little cupboard booth. And they're like, right, you need to act like you've had opium. And I'm pretty sure like one of them's like, you can actually take some if you want, it helps. Like,
Yeah, they've got like
chaos.
they've got like
Well,
a hookah
that's
pipe,
how we get morphine.
you know? And they're all just like pretending to be like vivacious, like high, like lordling style guards, just like chilling in the opium den.
Yeah.
While Ren is bleeding out.
Yeah, he's like, oh god. And you know, he's like pale and bleeding everywhere, and Kale and Adian are like,
probably should have taken some, by the way. It's like probably the best painkiller they're gonna have access to without magic.
Yeah.
So
100%.
The whole ordeal of it's hilarious. And then the King's Guard shows up, and then one of them is it Adian that's like, is that the wine? Or like, whatever he says, like, or he like clicks his fingers or something and is like, I want wine. I'm gonna find it. Let me find the quote, because it's fucking hilarious. I can't even remember what chapter it is that they go to the opium den.
30.
Is it 30? Bear with. Yeah, Adian's like, is that the wine? We've been waiting 20 minutes, you know. And then he goes, wine now.
That's when you can really see how him and Aelin are related.
Yeah, for real.
Surprised he didn't ask for some fucking bread.
Honestly, yeah, pretty much. So yeah, that
God, it's
is
so good.
what's going on in part 1 with them. The only other male perspective to talk about before we move on to one of my favorite characters ever, is Dorian. We need to talk about Dorian,
Wonderful.
other than
Baby
feeling
girl.
other than feeling
Okay.
abandoned by his bestie.
Before we go through the whole summary, I do have a question.
Yes,
How
ma'am.
do you each feel about, like, how did you feel when you were reading about Sorsha?
I love her, but I feel very sad for her.
Molly?
I knew she wouldn't last.
Yeah.
So the first time I read it, I was like, this isn't going to go well. Like, I don't see this being a happy
Yeah.
ending. I see
Yeah.
him suffering.
Yeah, I felt I don't mean this in a super negative way. I really don't, but I feel like she's not very well written for an SJM character. Like, she's very basic.
She is
Not
expendable.
very in depth for
No.
Yeah.
one of our biggest male characters to be with on a permanent
And I
scale.
think that was the point.
It's like
Yeah,
first love,
but
right? Like, oh, well, it was Aylin's
well-
first love, but like Teehee infatuation. Almost.
Aylin's first love.
Mm.
What do you mean?
As in, like, Selena was Dorian's, like, I was gonna say like first crush kind of vibe. Like Sorsha gives first crush vibes.
Oh,
Mm.
yeah. Yeah,
Aelin
so
was like the actual
but
first
that's
crush.
I actually think it does a bit of a disservice to Dorian's storyline, because
Yeah.
without getting too deep into what's going to happen with that, this relationship really changes and affects him in a really deep way. And it is a bit weird because he's like so obsessive about her so quickly. And I'm very like, the whole time I was reading it, I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I
yeah.
can see what you're talking about. Like, obviously we know I knew that she was expendable, but at least why is he so obsessed with her if we haven't seen enough of why that is the case, you know? Obviously
Yes.
she kind of
very
fills the role
rushed.
of she
Chaol.
fills the role of Chaol for him because he's been abandoned by Chaol because he's off like bitching about Aelin and hanging out with Adian. So he needs somebody to figure out his own shit effectively.
Yeah.
And she is the one that volunteers to help him figure out how to control his power. Because she has, as I said, has seen what's been going on. Not really knowing what's going on, but has seen the results of that.
Yeah.
So they start experimenting with each other. And she shares that the king's men destroyed her village, as he did with every other village. But he destroyed her village, and she works for him because she has nowhere else to go.
Yeah. I do totally understand, like, certainly Saoirse as a character serves a role in Dorian understanding what's happening to people and not just to aristocrats. But I did find it a bit unbelievable that they would have this like deep love that is sort of portrayed. But anyway, yes, let's talk Dorian. Our boy Dorian, he is just struggling to not
He's
be
going
outed
through
as a
it.
magic guy. Like, he is scared that because he knows what will happen if his father finds out.
He's kind of like the opposite. Like, he's still he's struggling like Aelin is struggling with trying to use her powers, but he's struggling not to use his powers.
Yeah.
And they keep like coming up, like creeping up every time he gets emotional in any way, shape, or form. So anytime he's like reliving traumatic memories or, having like a particularly strong response to something, his magic will flare. And it's in one of these moments that Saoirse actually sees that and decides to help him conceal and find a way to control them. So a lot of their chapters are like talking about ways in which they can like test and trial things, because obviously she's a healer, but she works a lot in the lab.
Yeah.
And they decide to use iron. So like to inject him with iron effectively, because iron is obviously in SJ Maas, but also generally in fairy mythology, iron is, repels the fae. And it has like quite a strong reaction to them. So funnily enough, it works. The iron does subdue his powers, since it's impervious to magic, and that's when they kiss. So they test this iron out and then they kiss.
I just like
So.
it's a very like different vibe. Like I love the parallel between or like the comparison between how Aelin is learning to master her powers, and we've got Rowan who's like, do it now, like make a mess, do it now, we can teach you if as long as you do it. And then we've got Dorian who's like, I need to hide this at all costs, and so she's like, I will help you hide this, because I know that if she was replaced and we had someone in her place, maybe like either Aelin herself, when she becomes Aelin fully, or the person that he does end up with, they would not be like that. They would be like, no, we're not gonna help you hide this. You're going to figure this shit out and use it to your advantage.
No, that's what happens in the future books, isn't it? Like he finds somebody to help him use his powers. Somebody that's in this book, should we say? I don't know. I feel like Dorian's storyline just fell flat.
It's a bit naff, isn't it?
Yeah, and
like I feel like
focus in this book on Chaol than there is on Dorian.
Yeah,
it was included because he's important at the end.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also included to be that foil for Aelin, right? Like it is valuable, especially for the later storyline, that they're always two sides of the same coin.
It's nice to see him still get representation, I think.
Yeah.
But he just wasn't as important in
But I think I actually think he's critically important, because I think
he is. It just wasn't fleshed out enough.
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm saying.
Kind of only becomes the importance in the second half of the book. The first half is kind of like, nah.
Well, I think that there's something that happens with the storyline where we do not get an opportunity to really see the long-term negative effects of what that type of concealment will do to him as a person and to his psyche. Like everything happens a bit too fast for it to hit. I think that was maybe the intention of like, okay, like he's the other side of this coin. He's trying to hide it, and he's fallen in love with this person who is helping him like change the chemical makeup of his blood to hide this. And that obviously is going to have a long-term negative effect on him. So he's falling in love with something very harmful. But we don't really get to see that play out because of what happens instead. Yeah. And so I think, but definitely in the first half, I felt it's a bit weak compared to the other storylines, mostly because I do not think that Sorsha is fleshed out enough as a character. Like there's just not enough about her. She doesn't feel like anybody specific to me.
She doesn't feel special, and that's a problem. Like that's the reason why I felt like she was expendable. She's not going to last, because I mean,
especially in the context of the whole series and the characters we meet again later that we've met before, like that you could copy and paste those two backstories and they're almost the same. So that didn't really do it for me. It's like, okay, I get that the point is that there are so many people with this same story, but there's nothing about her that makes her unique. And like, I really feel it in a fantasy for me to care about all of the individual characters. I need them to have that uniqueness.
She doesn't, so she like on the surface accepts him for having his magic, but she doesn't accept him fully because she just does her job. Like she's like, I'll do my job. You're my prince. Like there's a very like the whole way through that sort of storyline, even into the second half of this book, it's very much a he's my prince. kind of vibe. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like, for example, Selena, who was like, I don't give a fuck if you're royalty. You're a pain in my ass. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, she doesn't give a shit about that because she's also royalty.
Yeah.
well, yeah.
But
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do. Like, because it is very like, and it also it felt shallow to me because it's like, yeah, she's a nobody falling in love with a prince. Like, of course, for her that's exciting, but also,
Yeah.
of course, that's not going to work. Like, come on.
She doesn't see Dorian for the sum of his parts. All she's ever seen him as is Prince, and that's who she fell
Yeah.
in love with.
Yeah.
So, you know, it
It's
wasn't
almost
really
anything
great.
that I felt connected to.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then that actually, I think that Dorian does experience incredible growth later in the series. It's very interesting. But I don't know, when he reflects back on his trauma, which is partially because of what's going to happen later in the book.
Mhm.
I don't feel it as much as I want to because I
No.
don't care about her.
Yeah.
Sorry
It's
to
just
say.
like, why do you care so much about her? Like, I don't care about her. Why are you having this like almost visceral response to this? Like, it doesn't add up, you know?
It's honestly the same reaction I have with Selena and Sam. Like, I understand that it's hugely traumatic for her, but I don't connect with it because they had their first kiss in a sewer and I thought that was gross. Like, it's like there's just a blocker for me mentally of like really feeling that emotion. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all the characters we already knew for part 1. But there's another
Yeah.
character.
We get a brand new perspective, and it's quite possibly like the best perspective. It's what gets you through the chaos. It's what gets you through like the drivel of Dorian's like romance. And that is Manon. And Manon is a witch. She's an Iron Tooth witch. And she is from the Blackbeak clan. She is the heir to the Blackbeak clan. And she is the leader of the 13. Can I just say, the 13 are one of my favorite parts about Throne of Glass. I
The
fucking
besties.
love them.
Yeah.
They are cousins. They are cousins. But they are the closest thing that you could get to best friends with witches. Because
Yeah. 100%.
other than the Crokens, which are spoken about, Croken witches have all been hunted down because they are soft, effectively. They were seen as weak by all the other witches. So they were hunted to near extinction by the other clans. But the 3 clans, the Blackbeaks, the Blue Bloods, and the Yellow Lugs, they are rivals, but they kind of have like this tentative agreement not to kill each other while they are gathered.
For the greater good.
For the greater good of returning to the wastes, effectively. And throughout this book, you see them having to work together because obviously Duke of Pennington has bred these wyverns and he needs people to be their riders. Now, the witches didn't ride dragons before magic left. They rode brooms like actual witches, which I was just like, perfection. I'd love to see Manon on a broom. But there is a lot of tension that goes on between these 3 witch clans, and I was just living for it. It was like perfection.
I have to say, I think Manon is perhaps my favorite character in the series overall. Like, she is just, her journey is perfection, but from day one, from the very beginning, she is just, I loved being in her head. I loved that SJM did not pull back on making her ruthless, like so ruthless, to the point where some people read this book and they go, I don't understand why we're in a villain's POV.
Yes, I've heard people
love that though.
Yeah,
I've heard people say that they didn't like her until there was a romance, and that pissed me off because she was such a good character. She is such a good character.
Is great, but like she could have slayed on her own the whole way through.
She does.
Need the
she
romance
does.
to grow. Like, is the other thing. Like for her, it's not the same as it is with Aelin, where Aelin needs that romance or that connection, that relationship to make herself self-reflect and like do what she needs to do. Manat
She had
does
her
it because of the
connections.
other people around her. She doesn't do it because of her later romance.
And her experiences and the things that she goes through, she is the one that's gradually learning. She is the one that is growing from these experiences. And I love her. Like, I don't think there's any other character like her that I've ever felt
Also,
so connected to.
Could we take just a moment for the things about her that like are not that often mentioned in later books, but we kind of start off with here that are so like this woman hunts down, tears apart with her bare hands, and eats men for fun. I just think
Love her.
I love her.
Yeah. It's like
love her.
Like if I had to be a vicious monster, that's the kind I would want to be.
Yes, and
real women's work out here.
Her
literal thing is like, they're men, I don't care.
Exactly. She instills such bi panic. Like,
yes.
Really? Like, mommy, sorry. She could yell at me and I thank her for her. You know, she's that type of character. Like,
I am pretty far on the scale towards straight, right? Like I'm like 85-90% straight, but she can step on my neck. That'd be great. Like, let's go. I mean,
yeah, please. Thank you.
Love them.
She is one of my like biggest book crushes like ever, you know? Yeah. And she is kind of set to lead all of the witches, to be their wing leader. And she's like, fuck yeah, I want a wyvern, I want to fly again. Like, all the witches are so excited to be able to fly again because they haven't been able to since magic went away. So they go to the Omega, which is the mountain that's next to the Farian Gap. And funnily enough, they have like a memorial service for Baba Yellowlegs that, you know, the witch Aelin killed in Crown of Midnight.
That. Yes.
In the car.
And I'm just like, oh, that's
it makes
that's
me laugh
pressing.
Because she goes to meet her grandmother at like the start of this book, and her grandmother's like, Baba Yellowlegs is dead. And like the witches are like, who could have done that? She is a magical, strong being. She was like the best of her kind. And Aelin, like this
brat drunk that sat on like a roof in Wendelin. Perfection.
Yeah, like
it really just makes the story, and we obviously, it's not to do with Heir of Fire, but in the future books, the interactions between Manon and Aelin just really
so good.
Perfect.
So good. So good.
How do you guys feel about the wyverns?
Well, the wyverns in general, or the one?
How did you picture them?
Oh, like dragons.
Depends. It depends on the wyvern. So
with a different amount of legs.
Yeah, exactly. So every other dragon was like a dragon. Abraxas was toothless with more scars.
Yes.
So, right,
100%.
guys, I am going to show you what I thought the wyverns look like.
Oh,
and
God.
I think all the wyverns.
You show us, and I'll give a narration of how I would describe this to our listeners that are not watching.
Oh my fucking God!
Oh, is it a Pokemon? Like, what am I looking?
No, it's one of the dragons from How to Train Your Dragon.
That is Meatlug from How to Train Your Dragon. This is what I pictured it was like.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
No, I just imagined. I honestly imagined Game of Thrones dragons is pretty much what I imagined. Like,
yeah,
like
that's where my brain went.
This is Manon and Abraxas.
No,
see, that's where my brain went. So the Game of Thrones dragons, but except Abraxas, because Abraxas is toothless with more scars, and that's all I could imagine when he was like sniffing the flowers.
So I still see Abraxas as as a Game of Thrones dragon, but like small. Like I just see him as like a wee one, but then he acts a lot like Toothless. Like that's how I see him.
We
I
have
love
so
him.
different perspectives. I love
Yeah.
that man is this like fat, pimply dragon with big teeth.
So I think
round
because
bumblebee looking fuckers. Like
I think because I was into fantasy stuff as a kid, I always have this thing where like when other people read the books and they see these like cartoons and stuff, I'm always like, I don't know how, because I like just grew up looking at these like kind of fantastical art pictures and stuff. So that's what I think of in my head, is like stuff like that.
I love how she comes to choose Abraxas. So obviously when they
So
arrive and they're
good.
taken to go look at the wyverns and like the pens and everything, everyone wants Titus because he is the biggest wyvern they have.
The biggest, baddest one. Yeah.
Yeah. And Manon is like, yes, that one will be mine. He is ruthless. And obviously they try flying, but they don't fly on the ones that they go for. And it's that moment that her grandmother makes her the Blackbeak wing leader, so wing leader of all the Blackbeaks, and orders her to win the upcoming war games by any means necessary, so that they're the ones that are in charge of all the witches. So they have to go through a set of war games, which I just loved. I loved that.
Yeah.
Like having to do like a war college style like
Fourth
competition.
wing style
Exactly.
competition. Yeah.
Perfection. And then it's kind of like where it really starts getting into picking their dragons, which is where we meet Abraxas. I love him.
Who like
Baby.
she initially sees him and is like, that one's pathetic, right?
Yeah, because he is he's a bait dragon or a bait wyvern, so he's used to like hype, like
meant to be ridden.
No, he's used to like hype up and make the others attack and be more vicious. But there's more to him than appears. So
He's
the
more
witch is
sentient, isn't he? Like he
is.
can
There's
form
more
thoughts.
to him. He does. He has lots of thoughts, but effectively the witches take turns. They take turns. So they're the wyverns are paraded in front of them and made to fight against a bait wyvern like Abraxas, to show off their strength. And when Titus is brought out, so the biggest wyvern they have, Iskra, one of the other witches from one of the other witch clans, actually pushes Manon into the fighting pit. Hoping that Titus will kill her and then she'll get the biggest dragon. The Titus obviously attacks Manon, but she and the bait wyvern, Abraxas, team up. They tag team to kill Titus. And they fucking do. Like they work together and they are so good together as well. Like they're able to like, immediately able to like read each other to the point that they're able to cooperate and kill like this infamously powerful and like massive wyvern.
Yes.
And she's like, this one's mine.
Yes. And I love it because obviously within the context of the story, Manon kind of does often represent this concept of like super modern feminism in this world that doesn't fit it because of like being a witch. But like Abraxas also represents that in a way. Like he's small, he has tears in his wings, like there's so much about him that should be weaker than everything else, but she recognizes in that moment that he's actually the fiercest one of the wyverns. Like he's smart, he will stop at nothing to protect what he wants to protect. And that's a very like female sort of maternal kind of vibe. And I just love that. And I love that, like, obviously, we find out later he's also a big softie and, like...
So cute.
He represents, like, her softer side. And I think it's just beautiful. Like, he's my favorite.
It's also... I'm not saying that she doesn't care about her cousins, about the 13. She does. She is above all loyal to them,
Mhm.
and they are her family. They are her 13. But Abraxas is the first thing that is hers. That is hers
It's
to take
Yeah.
care of and love. And
yeah.
I think,
I think he's the first thing she loves. Like,
yeah.
I do.
And having him allows her to come into herself and kind of like see what's going on around her. So
Yeah.
Abraxas is what leads her to start strategizing. And she begins training with him, and I love how she's like, yeah, I'm not having you deal with him, like the human breeders. She's like, no, this is my dragon, I'm going to train with him. And I love her. I love him. I
I
love
do.
everything about
Yeah.
them. She
so
gets him
cute.
iron spikes to replace the ones that were like taken off during the fight. She gets him iron teeth because he's got like dental problems. He has to get his teeth pulled. And oh, he's just baby.
But she reminds me it reminds me of because she's like, he gets iron teeth just like me.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of like when I put my cat in a bow tie, so he looks like a little queen, and like it's adorable. And
She's dressing up her pet. Yeah.
She is.
It's like Build-A-Bear, but like Build-Wyvern.
but with weapons.
But she's exactly. And I think he also loves it because she's like, look at my teeth, look at my claws. And he's like, ooh, yeah, I want some of them.
Look at my
I'm just
teeth,
like,
Mom.
Mom. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, I just love them so much.
It's so cute.
I just
So
don't
cute.
understand how there are people that didn't love her and didn't love him at this point.
And people who were like, oh, but she's so mean, and it's like, yeah, that's the point. Like, like she's not supposed to be warm and fuzzy.
And
She's
she just
supposed
has this soft spot for him because, like, he also refuses to eat any meat that, like, you bring him that's not, like, fresh. So she
Yeah.
has to go up the mountains in, like, the most ridiculous weather to find him sheep
fresh sheep.
so he can
Yeah.
have dinner. And it's just brilliant.
And she does
I love
it. She does it.
That's the thing.
She
The soft spot is only for him.
like, she complains, yes, but she still fucking does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is a
Giving
mother.
Crimson and pie in it.
It is.
Yeah. And I love because she develops this relationship with the wyvern, and you would be tempted in this part of the story to be like, oh, okay, she's gonna soften up now. But she does not.
She
Like,
doesn't.
it's just for her pet. It's not
Only for
anybody else. Like, she is still such a intense, fierce bitch. Like,
Yeah.
for everybody except for this silly little wyvern. Like, who's obsessed with flowers. Like, it's great.
He is. He's so sweet.
Baby.
I think one of the most it's like one of the most beautiful moments of Heir of Fire, and that's when they fly together for the first time.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
again, whenever I imagine that, I imagine the scene from How to Train Your Dragon and the music from How to Train Your Dragon.
yeah,
I mean,
but
that makes sense.
It fits.
It's the first time ever that he's flown.
Yeah.
And it's
he's
the
never
first
gone to
time
fly.
ever since magic has gone that she's been able to fly. So
yeah,
it's something
she's-
that they share.
they do together.
She's like 100, right? She's like
Mm.
around there. And so it's like at this point, approximately like it's what, 10 years. So it's like about a tenth of her life, a significant portion of time to where like you almost don't remember what it feels like.
Yeah.
And she gets to do it with him for his first time.
And it's beautiful.
It is. It's so beautiful. Oh,
Yeah.
I love this book.
Wow.
I read it like what, 2 months ago, and I want to reread it again. Talking about it makes me want to read it
Heir
again.
of Fire is like one of those ones that I just love. This one and Throne of Glass are like my top two in the series, but Heir of Fire is my favorite in the whole series. Just because I feel like there's so much happening. It's like wider than just
Yeah.
Ardalan. and like that little court.
Yeah.
And this is so much wider, and we get so many world views, and we see new places and new people, and I love this book so much.
Yeah, I think for me, my highest like star rating for one of the books would be Kingdom of Ash. I truly think it's like perfect, but it's a big chunky boy that is very emotional and hard to reread because of the types of emotions you're going through.
Yes.
If I wanted to like have fun on a reread, I would be reading this one or Queen of Shadows for sure. Because I think I love Queen of Shadows for its like Count of Monte Cristo vibes. But
yeah,
but
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. But I love this one for like the incredible growth we see from Aelin, but also like getting to know Manon is like the most fun. It's so fun.
It's such a pleasure just like being able to learn about her and having her as an entirely new perspective, an entirely new character that we haven't known before. And she's just so good. She's such a good written character, well-written character.
And also from like a story,
great.
From a story point of view, like I love that Sarah J. Maas found a way to give us just enough insight into what was going on in enemy territory without like blowing everything through this like device of using a witch. So it's like it's really clever because we start to realize that there are pieces coming together, but we still can't really see what their end goal is.
Yeah.
And it's great looking back as well and seeing all those pieces after you've got the whole picture and you'll be like, oh my God.
It's nice doing the reread, isn't it? Because you're picking up on little bits. You're like, ooh, like that's a string that she pulls later that I totally forgot that she pulls later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And this is the book where it actually starts to matter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do truly think that in the books prior to this, she was putting out a lot of strings, but I don't think she really had a plan for what to do with them. In this book, it feels very, like, purposefully placed.
Oh, it's 100% intentional, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything has a reason.
Well, obviously we're not going to do our star ratings until the second episode. But we have been on for 2 hours. So I suppose, is there any last minute thoughts from you guys? Do we have anything else that we want to add? Or are we happy just to keep it to the next part?
I will say at this point in the story, I didn't think Maeve was a good guy, but I wasn't quite convinced of her like evil yet. So I think that was really well done. I think that the way Maeve evolves, not even just later, but in this book, I think the way we view Maeve and the way that evolves is really well put out. It's just not clear. Like she seems maybe unaffected by what's happening with humans or whatever, but not like what she really truly is.
She feels very self-servicing, like she doesn't give a shit about anything else that's going on. It's just kind of like one of those characters, like they have their own agenda.
Yeah.
I guess you wouldn't say, oh, she's going to be a big baddie. It's just like, oh, she's one of those like pathetic, only like dealing with her own shit kind of people.
Yeah.
You know? But the second half of this book, you're like, oh, okay.
Oh no. Yeah. So I think that's one thing we didn't really touch on is like how we feel about Maeve in the beginning. And for me, I'm like, yeah, she's right. You really shouldn't be walking around just like a human all the time and not using your powers. Like, come on.
And you should probably learn how to use them for the sake of, your kingdom. Like
it could be useful, you know? And really, there's no one better suited to show her how to do that than somebody that's been around for 400 years and has literally been in numerous wars. So
part of me feels very like we obviously learn a lot about Maeve later. But sometimes I'm like, really, should you have gotten someone to train her this whole time? Like,
it seemed a bit stupid, really, didn't it?
Strange choice.
Not really helping her in the long run, but
not to set up your own downfall or anything, but
no.
Oh, but I think I think it makes sense, but I can't talk on the pod about why until we're further
Yeah.
along.
We
But
need to get there.
yeah.
We do.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
Well,
Well. What are you reading this week?
maybe we should just say what we're doing today because we're probably going to record in a few days, right?
That
Or-
is
today-
true. What are you hoping to read over today in the next couple of days?
Yeah.
well,
What day are we starting Red Moon Rising? Moon
start
Rising.
of August. I'd
I could
say
never title that book.
I'd say Thursday or Friday.
Perfect. In the meantime, I am toying with starting an Allie Hazelwood run with the Love Hypothesis. So that's what's sitting next to my couch right now for me to pick up. I need to find my tabs because I want a tab. But other than that, I'm ready.
Amazing. I'm so
Wow.
excited. I love obviously, Love Hypothesis is one of my favorite books, like contemporary romances ever. And also
Yeah.
one of my favorite Allie Hazewoods. So
It has been sitting on my TBR for about 1 billion years. I bought it with the intention of doing all the Allie Hazelwood books. But then I put it down because I heard a lot of mixed things about Allie Hazelwood. She can be kind of polarizing. And I was like, I'd probably like it because I like fanfic, but like, I don't know. And then when Bride came out, I was like, oh, I got to read that. And so I read Bride and fell in love with it.
Allie Hazelwood, polarizing. Really?
Yeah, there's a bunch of people who like a couple years ago before all this current fanfic kerfluffle. But there was a bunch of people who were like, I don't know why people like it, it's not good. And so my FYP was really like 50-50. So I was like, I don't know. Like
They're wrong. She's an angel. We love
they're
Allie
wrong.
Hazelwood.
They're wrong. I figured out very
I love
quickly
her.
reading Bride. I was like, oh no, I love this girl. This is perfect.
Yeah. I love that. I'm so excited for you. I can't wait for like the play-by-play in the chat about you reading it as well, because
I know I'm
Adam
gonna be
Carlson
spoiling.
is my favorite. I love him. Perfect. What about you, Emmy? What are you going to be doing?
I am going to finish Lady of Starfire and get that series completed. Then I'm going to finish listening to the audio for Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ideal or Being in Love. Then I'm going to read The Irresistible Urge. And then after that, then I need to read Queen of Shadows.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Love
That's
that.
the plan. So I'll in the next couple of days, I mean, we're probably planning on filming this in, 4 or 5 days' time, the next one. So by then, I'm hoping to have at least finished Lady of Starfire and the audiobook of the fanfic.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Excellent plans.
Amazing.
What about
plans.
you, Molly?
I am still in the depths of my not fanfic, variations. So I have 4 on my Kindle at the moment that I want to read. And I'll see after I finish those whether I want to keep reading for a little bit. But after that, obviously I'm going to start Bull Moon Rising with Crimson at the end of next week. But I also obviously that's going to kick off like my Minotaur reads for the month of August.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a couple in the Hallows Cove series, which one of them is part of, that I haven't read yet. So I might read those. They're all like contemporary style monster romances. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh no, I had a question. I had it. It was right here. I really wanted to ask you guys the question before we go. I don't remember. Never mind. Bye.
What a closing.
Oh, I figured it out. I remembered. Okay. Sorry. It's because you went off into monster romances and I got interested in that. And so my brain, it's about the Pride and Prejudice thing. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, you read a lot of these variations. And so my question is, are you running out or are there really like just limitless amounts?
There's limitless. So Jaff is what it's called, effectively. It's Jane Austen fan fiction, and they have been published as books. So
Yeah.
Jane Austen, because it's over 250 years, the copyright on it and all the rights to it are within the public domain.
It's very.
Like
So yeah, like Winnie the Pooh. So if people want to write about it, they can publish books using her characters and her storylines without,
Totally.
being legally penalized for it. So there is a wealth of variation content.
I knew it was legal. I just didn't know how much there was, because there's obviously been a few that have become a bit famous, like when the zombie one, the first like zombie one, got big and stuff like that. But I didn't know. I just didn't know if there was like
funnily enough.
Yeah, I know.
There's so many. There are so many.
Yeah.
So like it's so stupid, because obviously I love when fan fiction becomes published. I think it's a great opportunity for authors. I don't like, for some reason, my brain just doesn't want to do it. Pride and Prejudice, but with monsters. Or like Pride and Prejudice modernized. No, I don't like it. I want it to be true to like what Pride and Prejudice is, in that it's a Regency romance. I can't do zombies. I can't. There's one with a vampire. I don't think I'll be able to do that. I can't do modernizations. It's something I'm very particular about, and I don't know why.
Interesting. So what's the variation then? Like, what makes it different?
So they change parts of the story, and they're like, what if this happened, or what if this happened? So I read one the day before yesterday, and I am pretty sure that it is one of the best variations I've ever read in my life. It's called The Red Chrysanthemum, and it was so well written. There was so much added to it that just it didn't happen in the book, obviously. And there was so much development that you could tell that the author had just put so much time and effort into the storyline. So effectively, it's like, what would happen if Lydia hadn't eloped with Wickham for a couple more weeks. So she had more time in when she was at Pemberley, and they got more well acquainted there. And the author in that one uses the language of flowers, and it plays quite heavily into the plot of the story, and it was just amazing.
Okay. Well,
anyway,
we've been talking for 2.5 hours now.
I need to leave the house soon.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna round us out if you guys are happy.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Fate, Fic and Fiction. This obviously has been a part 1, so the episode that comes up directly after this one will be part 2. We're not going to make you wait a couple of weeks. It is just 2 weeks apart. So please check back in, because the second half of Heir of Fire, it's a lot. It's kind of chaos. So lots of things happen all at once. So we're excited to speak about that in the next episode. And if you're looking for us anywhere, you can find us linked in the description below with our Instagram. And of course, you can also find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Podcasts as well. But we will see you guys in the next episode. Have a really lovely week.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later.